TCS presents Major League Baseball. We come at you from Oriole Park at Camden Yards on this sultry Sunday afternoon here in downtown Baltimore. It's a deciding game of the three-game interleague series as the Orioles welcome in the Philadelphia Phillies. Good to see everybody. Happy you're with us. Michael Reghi, as the heat index rises here around downtown Baltimore, you can count on Albert Bell's bat doing the same. Now, the Orioles got this series even last night, and Albert Bell extended the hit streak to 12 games, and the Orioles offense seems to follow suit. With that, we bring in my telecast colleague, Jim Palmer. And Jim, the 12-game hit streak notwithstanding, but Albert Bell has been impressive in that it's not just the home run bat. He seems to be working all the field and being much better selective at the plate.
Well, he's made some adjustments. Early on, a little bit of an open stance, pulling off the ball. Really couldn't drive the pitch inside, but getting base hits away. Now, here's a fastball off Esteban Yan down in Tampa Bay, and he crushes this. And that got it going. And another home run, and I'll tell you what, he is hitting every conceivable pitch. And also hitting the ball, as you mentioned, to all fields. So there it is last night, 3 for 5. Even one of his outs was a line drive to right field. A 12-game hitting streak and hitting closer to 500 than he is 400, 5 home runs, and all those RBIs. You're right, the weather's hot, and so is Albert.
We've watched this Philadelphia Phillies ball club for the last 4 years in interleague play, and the names Scott Rowland, Mike Lieberthal, Bobby Abreu becoming very familiar to you, and Jim, to the Orioles pitching staff as well. This group could flat out swing the bats.
Well, they certainly can, and Scott Rowland in his first bat off the DL hits a 3-run home run. And then Lieberthal, we know what kind of hitter he is. He impressed us last year, line drive, home run to try to get back in the ball game. So there are the numbers over the last 3 years, and you can see they're 3 and 5 though, with all these great numbers, and that kind of gets you to the feeling that what they try to do, they went to get the guy we're going to see pitch today in Andy Ashby to try to get better pitching. You know, he won 14 games last year, 17 the year before, and he's 2-6 with an ERA over 5 runs a game. So all those glowing numbers don't mean a whole lot if you don't get good pitching.
The Orioles here at home for more than a week. They certainly want to take advantage of that, and they'd like to move a little bit closer to that 500 mark. They need to do that with a win today against Philadelphia. 8 in the afternoon here, just about the middle part of June. A stirring rendition of the national anthem from Ms. Leah Thompson. Hello, Leah. She's appearing in cabaret right here around the city. So
let's go see it.
Yeah, I think so. If the national anthem performance is any indication, terrific job from Leah Thompson, making a stage appearance here in Baltimore. All right, let's take a look at Mike Hargrove's Orioles defensive alignment. It'll be Will Clark and Delano DeShields on the right side of the infield, with Mike Bordick at shortstop, Jeff Conine day game after night game. Cal Ripken starting this one anyway on the Orioles bench. B.J. Surhoff, Brady Anderson, Albert Bell, that very familiar outfield trio. Greg Myers will make his 10th start of the year, and he's working with the ace of the Orioles staff. Mike Messina fell behind Jim early in Shea Stadium against the Mets, but then the Orioles got him a few runs. He retired the last 9 hitters he faced and got his 3rd win of the year.
Well, it's a good test for Mike in a number of ways. First of all, 2 of the Orioles' hottest hitters are not in the lineup. Charles Johnson, who's just been on fire, as is Cal Ripken. So he'll have to go out there. I mean, Cal for his last 7 for 15, and Charles hitting 5 home runs in his last 51 at-bats. But not a lot of runs to work with. And, boy, you run the numbers this year versus last year. The only one that jumps out at you is last year he threw 16 home runs in all the innings he pitched, which is about 783 batters. This year in about 363. You can see right there, I mean, the home runs are coming down, but in about half the batters he's faced, he's already thrown 15 home runs this year. So that's the big difference. That and the run support. Almost 7 runs a game last year and about a little bit over 3.5 this year.
Well, Mike Messina trying to dial in yet one more time against the Philadelphia Phillies. We showed you as we came on the air here moments ago with the tease to our show that Messina already 2-0 against the Phillies in interleague play. Let's take a look at our Sac Creek Concrete umpiring crew here this afternoon at the yard. Al Clark will handle the balls and strikes behind the plate. C.B. Buckner, Rick Reed, Hunter Wendelstadt from first to third around the bases. Heat index going to go above triple digits today, so make sure you're cool somehow. Put your feet up, don't do a whole lot, and just enjoy. Magnificent day for Orioles baseball as Messina deals with the Glanville for the called strike. That's how we'll begin this Sunday at the yard. Lanville's numbers, as you see, solid, and he's an everyday guy. As Terry Francona rights him into that leadoff slot in center field, and he does what leadoff men are supposed to do, Jim. He gets his way on board and is a run scorer for this club.
Well, that he is. He's got great speed. 34 out of 36 last year, 13 out of 16 this year. But the on-base percentage could be a little bit higher.
This is lifted to short right. DeShields will give way to Albert Bell, who's got it. Glanville's gone. Messina keeps the leadoff man off the bags. All right, Jim, what about our Dodge keys to the game for both clubs?
Well, you can see right there they used the long ball to very effectively the other night. 25 home runs in 16 games. And Andy Ashby, he's been struggling. He pitched well his last time out. Hadn't won since May 7th. Party at the plate for the Orioles. Both home runs last night after hitting a lot of solos. Cal and Albert Bell with 2- and 3-run home runs. And Moose, stay loose because your numbers, your record doesn't reflect how well you pitched.
Now Messina quickly ahead of Desi Relaford. So Relaford made a key error in that 8th inning last night at shortstop. Had a slow start, as you see, and hitting at 300, now just a little bit below it in the last 6 weeks of the baseball season.
But if you want to pitch well, you better have a shortstop that can play well. And he's made 10 errors in his last 19 games. And he was the last National League shortstop to make an error. So very struggling over the last 3 weeks.
Probably could have turned a double play on the ball that was hit up the middle in the 8th inning last night that would have gotten the Phils out of the inning, and the ball Bordick hit up the middle, wasn't able to do it, scored it off his glove for the error, and the Orioles kept putting innings together. On the ground to the right of the Seals, booted momentarily, recover, and then throw out Relaford.
Well, there's the difference between playing second base and shortstop. Second baseman, if they get in the proper position and they can knock the ball down, still pick it up, even though Relaford doesn't steal a lot of bases. He's 3 out of 3 this year, but he's got good speed. So Delino doesn't really catch the ball very well, but in that sense, but he knocked it down right in front of him, centered the ball, and you get the out.
So now Mike Messina will look at Bobby Abreu. We talked about Abreu his last 2 years with the Phils. And now over 300, 11-game hit streak, triple single Friday night, and a 3-run home run last night as Messina will start him with a knuckle curve that missed. Not many holes in this guy's offensive repertoire, Jim. He's a guy that'll slash and he'll just go after you with the bat.
And that's how you hit 335, which is what he did last year. I asked Hal McRae, his hitting instructor, I said, does he have any holes? He said, everybody has holes. But he said when he is hitting the ball well, he can hit the ball anywhere on the plate. And here's your example. Fastball, not that bad a pitch. Kind of down outer half, and he just hits it about 390 to left center field. So a good pitch is rendered into a 3-run home run.
It's going to get out of play on the left side.
And the approach is very solid. React to the ball inside. Most of the pitches that are thrown by pitchers, with the exception maybe of a guy like Mike Messina, who pitches in and out as well as anybody when he's on his game, they're going to be away. Al McRae will tell you about 80-85% of the balls are away, so that's where you're looking.
Messina's 2-1. Now 2-2 as he's evened up against Abreu.
There's a big difference when you're left-handed, what you do with the ball down and the one you do up. The ball down, there's Al McRae, the second to only Harold Baines when it comes to excellence as a designated hitter. Of course, he was a good hitter before he even became a DH when he played for Cincinnati. You saw him in the '70 World Series.
You bet he was. 3-2 now on Bobby Abreu.
But you take a left-handed hitter, you throw him high fastballs, and a lot of times what you'll do is get him hit the ball the other way. And we saw that last night with DeShields and Brady hitting doubles off of Kurt Schilling. Now you get the ball down. You don't have to be quite as quick. You can drop the barrel of the bat on the ball, and then you're looking long-distance shots.
Got him on the knuckle curve. He froze Bobby Abreu. The first K of the day for Mike Messina. Phil's scoreless Orioles coming to swing the bats against Andy Ashby as Messina paralyzed Abreu. his defense today. Brian Hunter will play first base, getting his first start of the series. Same with Kevin Jordan at second base. Desi Relaford's a shortstop. Scott Rowland's at third base. Rob Ducey will start in left field today after being the DH first 2 games. Doug Glanville's in center. Bobby Abreu's in right. And we see Tom Prince for the first time behind the plate, giving Mike Lieberthal a day off, and Andy Ashby. So, as we said, 17-game winner in '98 for San Diego. Followed that up with 14 more wins in 1999. And Jimmy's a former Philly, second tour of duty with this ball club.
Yeah, went over to Colorado in the expansion draft, traded the year later over to San Diego, and that's when he had success. You know, the numbers in Colorado, and really didn't get a whole lot of chances. 9 starts. He was 0-4 with an ERA of 8.50.
And facing Brady Anderson, the O's leadoff man. Outside corner is Ashby, who gets quickly ahead at 0-2.
Well, that ball's got to be about 4 inches off the outside corner, and you can see Brady already. You know, Al Clark, we haven't seen him this year, at least I haven't. And you know, that's going to maybe it's going to be a big strike zone, which will certainly help Mike Messina. And if Andy Ashby can make his pitches, which when you're 2-6 with an ERA close to 6 runs a game, you're not doing, certainly going to help him.
They try to come back in now after establishing that outer half. Anderson on the year. Brady in this leadoff spot almost exclusively at 279. That's lined to the gap in right center field, and that's going to get down. Anderson thinking 2. Abreu's throw to second, not in time. Anderson beat it with that headfirst slide. Leadoff double for Brady Anderson as he found the gap between Abreu and Glanville, his 15th 2-base hit of the year.
Just like last night. Brady left off with a double down the left field line, and right here now the play's in front of him. He sees Abreu having to go hard to his right, and it's a sprint. And just in. Leg feeling a lot better after having that nerve problem. The throw right on the money. But again, speed. What does it change the complexion of the game? Abreu did everything right. Picked it up, didn't take a lot of time, made a perfect throw, and Brady's in with a double.
Wasn't Brady telling you a little bit earlier in the series, Jim, that his leg now, maybe for the first time this year, close to 100%?
He said he can feel it. He had that palsy where they actually lost the feeling in that left leg. Iced his, I guess his knee or just below the knee, and then had all kinds of problems with the nerve in his left leg, down in the calf area.
There's Mike Bordick. Bordick has become very stable in this number 2 spot in the lineup. And one hop up the middle, backhanding Jordan will make that one hop throw, and Bordick beat it. Kevin Jordan had to go a long way behind the bag, and Mike Bordick, he couldn't get a lot on that throw, and Bordick was able to beat it.
Once again, Ashby out in front. Another 2-strike pitch, just beaten in the ground. Jordan, nice play. And Mike Bordick, that you can definitely see that foot down on the bag. And the first base umpire, C.B. Buckler, he's going to call him safe. You see Brian Hunter coming off just in case.
The Shields with a ground ball at Hunter. He'll go to Relaford for 1. That return throw is late. The Shields beat it. RBI on the fielder's choice for Delino DeShields. Brady Anderson to the plate. And the O's get the early lead on Andy Ashby and the Phils on the DeShields RBI.
Yeah, Brian Hunter thinks he can get a double play right here, and he would. He stays down. Look how low the glove is, but he doesn't make a very good throw. Ball sails, and Relaford, no chance as Brady makes it 1-0. Nice play by Hunter to come up with a grab. So here's your first run for the Orioles, and as last night, they break on top.
Brady Anderson, Al Clark in conversation as Brady pointed out something down around the plate. Not quite sure what he was alluding to.
I think he was alluding to the outside corner. How big is this plate going to be today?
There's Albert Bell now. We featured Albert at the top of the show, and with just cause. Bell has gone up to 309 now. Look at the 12-game hit streak. 457 during that period. He had 3 3-hit games in the 12-gamer. As the RBI count up to 36. That's for the Orioles. third on the ball club, behind Bordick and Ripken. Ashby's 0-1. It's a called strike, so he's quickly ahead of Albert Bell. And you look at the 50 home run season in Cleveland, the 49 home run season in Chicago. Both follow the same script pretty much. As the heat index rises, so will Albert's power production.
Well, in Chicago, didn't he hit 31 home runs the second half of that year?
Yeah, 17 in July. Here's the 0-2. Slider missing away.
And not turning that double play does create a running situation. Now, Prince hasn't played a whole lot. He's only been up 21 times this year. Lieberthal, who's one of their hottest hitters, and does most of the catching. So Tom Prince, pretty good arm. The Shields with 20 steals. I can still remember Don Buford, Frank Robinson said, if you're going to run, run. Just don't be distracting. Usually your fourth place hitter, you want to let him swing away.
That's pretty blunt and to the point. Well, let's go ahead and go, huh?
Yeah, if you're going to jump around and go off the base, go. Want me to take pitches? I'll do it early in the count.
Bell will foul off that 1-2 in on his hand.
I mean, that's why you're number two hitters. And when you think about, the guys that have hit behind Lou Brock and hit behind Ricky Henderson and hit behind some of your premier base stealers, they have to be able to subjugate their really approach at the plate to help a guy like Wills or Henderson take a lot of pitches, be willing to hit deep in the count. Well, you don't tell a guy like Albert Bell that's what you have to do.
Missed down 2-2 on the O's right fielder. And that 50 home run season we talked about also had better than 50 doubles in tag team with it. As a member of the Cleveland Indians, the year that a lot of observers felt that maybe this man, Albert Bell, should have been the MVP, but it went to Mo Vaughn of the Boston Red Sox.
And why is that? Nothing to do with performance between the lines. Probably a lot on perception and maybe it's Albert's unwillingness to make himself available to the media. I think he has looked upon it a little bit differently since those days. It's not an everyday thing with Albert, as you know. The Shields going 3-2 pitch, sky to right. It'll back up Abreu as that ball's carrying near the auxiliary board, and Abreu finally collars it. Now Bell out on the fly ball to right for out number 2 here in the opening inning. Oriole Park's place to be, O's fans, Thursday, June 15th for Tankard Mug Night. All fans 21 and over attending the 7:35 O's Texas game will receive a free Orioles Tankard mug that you're looking at. Get your tickets now. Call that number you see on your screen or visit online at the Orioles website. Yeah, we take a look at the scoreboard. The ball does, the wind is blowing out today. So the fly balls, it's kind of a pitcher's nightmare in this ballpark anyway. But Brian Graham, who is kind of the Orioles' sixth coach, and does eye in the sky, so to speak, he was talking about how when the weather warms up, the ball does go here. And when you look at the dimension, it doesn't have to go that far. So, you might see the Shields. There are those flags. Usually the birds up there on top, their noses head into the wind. B.J. Surhoff now on the ground up the middle to the right of Kevin Jordan, who will pick it and throw out Surhoff. Orioles settle for one to take the early lead against Andy Ashby and the Phillies.
Today's Maryland Lottery scratch-off triple play winner is Mrs. Joseph Koska of Lansdowne, Maryland. Mrs. Koska has won $50 worth of scratch-off tickets and is automatically entered into the grand prize drawing on June the 30th for $100,000. To enter the Maryland Lottery scratch-off triple play contest, send any non-winning scratch-off tickets to the address on your screen. Tune into every Orioles game to see if you're a winner and dare to win. The Mets and the Yankees play tonight had several interesting games up there at Yankee Stadium over the last couple, Michael.
You're right, Tommy. They really have. And you got a chance to be up in Shea Stadium Thursday night, so you kind of got a precursor of the flavor. Subway Series has been pretty electric.
Definitely so.
Yeah. Mike Piazza with a grand slam home run on Friday night as the Mets broke through with 12 against Roger Clemens, beating the Yanks. And the Yanks came back yesterday and put 13 on the board. A lot of home run power. Mike Messina looking for his third consecutive win against the Philadelphia Phillies as he faces Scott Rowland to lead it off. Messina picked up his 100th career win against this ball club back in 1997, first time he faced him. And then Mike with the season high 12 Ks last year at the Vet right before the All-Star break. Messina looking for career win number 140 this afternoon. Last two starts have been, three starts have been very good. Rowland got jammed. Fly ball short center field. Brady Anderson is there. He's got it for out number one.
And I think that's when you go back to the curveball that Scott Rowland hit off of Pat Rapp on Friday night. And coming off the DL, maybe not the bat as quick as it will be after he sees a little bit more live pitching, but maybe a better breaking ball hitter at this juncture after a couple of weeks off with the sprained ankle. And it appeared to me that Mike Messina noticed that.
There's Rob Ducey. Ducey getting the call in left field today from manager Terry Francona after he handled the designated hitting duties the first two games of this series. Struggling on the road is Rob Ducey. Looking to pick up a series win there against his Philadelphia ball club. And well, Jim, trying to find series wins during the course of the last about 6 weeks of baseball have been a rather arduous chore for the Birds.
Well, it has been for a number of reasons. Your bullpen is not performing the way you'd like it. Your offense is not performing the way you'd like it. And the starting pitching got better, except that, you know, we talked about it last night with Sidney Ponson. I mean, here he wins his fourth game. 4 other times he's left with a lead. Nothing to show for it. Messina's pitched well. Not scored a lot of runs for him. Like, he had to go back 6 starts before he really struggled. And that, 1, 2, 3 runs. And he's got a good fastball this afternoon. And it's going to be a wide plate, it appears. First, second strike to Ducey was about 3 inches off the outside corner. So there's Sidney.
And the last O's series win was that 3-game sweep of Seattle back in the May 23rd through May 25th area. As again, Ducey followed off. So they hadn't won one before that since the final series in the month of April. So the Orioles looking to do something today that has become a little bit unfamiliar to them. And try to get back to 8 games under the 500 mark. If Messina can take care of the Philadelphia Phillies today. The 1-2 will back up Rob Ducey. Missed 4 starts last year. It's something that he is hoping to avoid in this 2000 season. And that, of course, was after he was hit in the deltoid from the line drive off the bat of Brooke Fordyce. Right now, Messina and Ducey locked in a pretty good duel at 2-2.
Well, you've watched Ducey hit the last 2 evenings, and he's been late on the fastball. So you got a knuckle curveball. Of course, it doesn't really matter about speeding up his bat. If you throw a good one, it won't matter. But the changeup, maybe Mike's thinking, well, I don't want to speed up his bat that much.
2-2 pitch is hammered to deep right. Albert Bell is going to watch it get out of here. We are tied at 1 apiece. Rob Ducey taking Mike Messina on a long ride. Number 4 on the year for Ducey. And for Messina, that ends a run of staying away from the long ball, Jim.
Well, it does, and we've talked about it the last 2 nights. Ducey, not your prototypical DH, even though he's playing left field tonight. And they're just trying to throw a fastball by him, and they can't do it. Ball runs back a little bit in the middle of the plate. Mike threw it well, tried to get it up, and all of a sudden Ducey, who saw nothing but fastballs, turns on one. Tied at 1.
For the Phillies, their 61st home run as a team on the year. As Roland leads the club with 13, even though he missed a couple of weeks. Ronnie Gann, Bobby Abreu in double figures with 10. This is Pat Burrell, the shining gem of the Phillies farm system after he was selected with the first pick out of the University of Miami. So the Phils were not able to collar J.D. Drew, Jim, after they selected him, but they turned around and got Burrell, as Messina will make him look bad on that biting slider down and away to fan Pat Burrell for the Moose's second strikeout.
But in all fairness to J.D. Drew, and he's going to look real bad on 2 consecutive sliders. They just slide away from him. He doesn't pick up the spin. You can just see him off balance, way out in front. The difference between Drew and Pat Burrell is that Drew is supposed to be an all-around player. Burrell's he's going to help the Phillies with his bat. To do that, of course, he's going to have to get more experience. But he doesn't run like Drew. He can't play the outfield like Drew. I mean, it's just they're different players, and maybe that's why Drew asked for $7 or $8 million.
Well, sure, and he's moved right into that St. Louis Cardinals outfield and made a rather healthy and, as you said, wealthy impression in St. Louis.
Even though he had a good rookie year, and his last year he struggled, maybe tried to do a little bit much, but now fitting in.
Here's Brian Hunter now. Hunter getting the call at first base today. Saw Hunter here in interleague baseball with Atlanta the last couple of years. In the air to center for Brady Anderson to put it away, inning over. The solo home run from Rob Ducey has tied it at 1.
For more information and to register the Hit for the Cycle contest, stop by any Antwerpen Automotive location or log on at www.antwerpenauto.com. Michael?
All right, Tom, thank you. We are tied at 1 apiece after Rob Ducey's solo home run on Mike Messina. Jeff Conine flared to left, and that's going to drop for a base hit in front of Ducey. Well, the Orioles pick up base hit number 3 on the afternoon. Jeff Conine continuing to swing the bat impressively for the Orioles. Jim starts a little bit at first base. Obviously, give Cal Ripken a day off, replace him third base, can play the outfield. We know he can DH, so Conine continues to prove his worth to this club.
And able to keep sharp enough so even when he's not playing in consecutive days, he can get base hits. You know, Ashby just throws him a get-me-over curveball, comes back with a little better one, base hit to left.
Here's Will Clark now. A little bit tardy on the Ashby fastball. All right, Mr. 268-win pitching Hall of Famer. Why did Andy Ashby have such success in the National League in San Diego the last couple of years? It pretty much was one of the staples of their rotation, and struggling so much out of the gate in Philly.
Well, I talked to him yesterday. He doesn't like his windup. He said he's throwing across his body. I don't see that today. And I don't know if you've ever been to San Diego, but it makes Camden Yards look big.
You think
the
so?
ball carries it. The ball, yeah, it plays very, very small. And I was surprised because it used to be a very big ballpark, and they've moved the fences in and whatever. So it's certainly not the ballpark, not like pitching at Comerica Park. I think it's confidence. I think the fact that you come over and you're going to be a #1 starter because the #1 guy is out with shoulder surgery. You're in your contract year where you had a 2 or 3 year deal, and that's up. He's only 32. He'll be 33 on July 11th. But he wasn't very confident yesterday. Didn't like his mechanics. He couldn't throw the ball where he wants to.
Will Clark with a bomb to deep right center, and see you later. How good does that feel for Will the Thrill? That's #1 on the year for Will Clark. Third time he's taken Andy Ashby deep in just 10 career at-bats.
Well, you got to go all the way back to July 24th, the last time Will Clark did a home run. And I walked in with him today from the garage or where they parked the cars, and he said, I'm close. Almost hit 2 last night. Now, he hadn't gotten too many fastballs thigh-high inside half to drive, but he certainly did there, and he puts the Orioles ahead 3-1. Answers your question why Ashby's struggling, isn't he? I mean, you couldn't throw it. If you want to say, where can I throw it so he can hit it as far as he can, he just did. He didn't mean to.
Here's Harold Baines now. So, yeah, going back to July 24th of last year for Will Clark, who continues. Probably taking a little bit of a ripping right now. You know he is. From his Oriole teammates, because Jim has averaged 20 home runs per year in his big league career.
Well, and I asked him, I said, listen, you're 36. There's got to be a little pressure. He said, of course. He said, but that's why you don't react or overreact. You just try to do what you're doing. You try to, come back. I mean, obviously, really having a good year until he hurt the hamstring. And I don't never looked at him as a home run hitter. I looked at him as a guy that drives the ball right center, left center. Well, if he gets ahead in the count where he can look for a fastball, he might get a little bit quicker. Somebody hangs a breaking ball, but never intentionally going up there to try to hit home runs. And that's why he's a 300 lifetime hitter.
That's right. 3-2 to Harold Baines is Sky Dew, shallow center. Relaford's out. Glanville's behind him. And it's Desi Relaford. You see how Relaford three-quartered that? That's how you're taught to approach the baseball as an infielder or outfielder with the high skies, tough skies like today.
But the Orioles last night and tonight have gotten a lot of good pitches to hit. When you talk to Terry Francona, he said, I didn't see anything wrong with Curt Schilling. As far as velocity, I saw it in location. And we've already seen that today.
There's Greg Myers now. Myers making another start behind the plate. And Greg with the one home run on the year for the Birds. Charles Johnson, batting very hot. Getting the afternoon off on this scalding Sunday afternoon here at the yard.
I told him your bat's as hot as this weather is today.
Start of the year, as we talked about a little bit earlier, for Greg Myers behind the plate.
And see, that's what Ashby does so well. He's got a little splitter. He's a sinker ball pitcher. If he gets the ball up, I'm going to be dead meat. And he did it to Brady. He doubled. And he did it to Will Clark. He homered. No big mystery.
Yeah, that missed away. 2-2 on Myers.
He's got to sink the ball. He's got to throw his splitter underneath it, and he's got to keep his breaking ball, which I thought was a strike right there, right about in that area.
Ashby's 2-2 on the ground over the mound. Jordan to his right. And will throw out Myers after he had the baseball roll up his arm a little bit, but recovered to throw out the Birds catcher. Now the Blue Jays are coming to the yard the end of June, final day of this month, and then on into the 4th of July weekend. Good seats remain for all 4 games against Jim Fregosi's Jays. And you can get your tickets by calling 1-888-848-BIRD or online at the Orioles website.
And then up to New York. Well, 4th of July weekend, or I mean middle of the week.
Yeah, and then into Philly to end the first half of the year. So a pretty tough stretch coming up for the Orioles. As following this interleague series with Philadelphia, and go on through the rest of this homestand with Texas coming in, and then the Anaheim Angels. And then, of course, out to Seattle as Anderson rips a base hit up the middle. Well, Brady Anderson is 2 for 2. So Brady has had a very strong series swinging the bat against his Philadelphia pitching.
Well, he feels better. He's getting good pitches to hit, and he's hitting them. And we'll see with 2 outs, and this might be a running situation. Brady 6 out of 12 after stealing 35 last year.
It's Mike Bordick who picked up an infield base hit. Bouncing ball over the mound back in the opening inning. Orioles put 5 on the board in the first 2 innings last night. And they've turned right around and put marks in the run category against Ashby here in the first 2 innings today. Tom Prince going to have a chat with Andy Ashby. There's Terry Francona. Ed Wade, the GM, on this trip, and most around the Phillies organization speak of what a fine job that Terry Francona, as a young manager. Jimmy got the job when he was 38 years old, back 4 years ago.
Youngest manager in baseball. I mean, he had this Philly team last year before Schilling went down and Rowland went down with a bad back, and they were 67 and 59.
Anderson's going, and Bordick will foul at 2-0 straight back.
And that's a team that hasn't been 500 since 1993.
Yeah, their last journey into the world of postseason baseball. It's been kind of a rough ride at the Vet in South Philly for this ball club. I think a lot of it's going to tie into Curt Schilling. How does he perform the rest of the year? He did not look that positive last night. 2-1 to Bordick. Broken back ground ball to the hole, cut off by Rowland. He'll go to Jordan to get the force on Brady Anderson. Will Clark, first time this year, leaving the yard, 3-1-0.
Back to Baltimore's Camden Yards. Tom Davis together with Roger Hayden, who is the director of stadium operations here. Roger, it was 98 degrees at the game time. What's the temperature on the field right now?
On the field right now, it's 102 degrees, but on the warning track, it's 133, Tom.
133 on the warning track?
On the warning track, yeah, unbelievable.
Now, what do you do to like, do extra things here to keep people cool at the ballpark?
Well, we encourage everybody to drink a lot of liquids. We have ice stations out. We're going to use at least 10,000 pounds of ice today, which we provide free for fans in cups to use to keep themselves cool. We encourage everybody to drink a lot of fluids. Our big sellers are the things you'd expect: bottled water, ice cream, icy, and lemonade. Surprisingly, beer's not on the top of the list and really shouldn't be for keeping people cool.
Is this considered like one of the hottest days of the year for the baseball park?
Yes, it is. We have had a couple of these. Normally, we have a great deal of problem with fans who are overcome by the heat, so we work very hard to encourage them to drink a lot of fluids.
You have extra people like paramedics on hand, too, in case of heat strokes?
Yes, we have them. We have cool rooms where we have several different locations. We have cool rooms where people are having problems. We put them in a cool room.
All right, thanks to Roger Hayden, who's the director of ballpark operations here, Michael.
Yeah, Tommy, thank you, and we'll look forward to Tom Davis making his way around the yard today, and Roger Hayden, good guy to talk to on this scorcher of a Sunday. So adhere to his advice. Make sure you drink a lot of water and plenty of liquids if you're going to be out and about today, but the beer consumption's not what you want to get to today. Not going to help you.
I'm not having any.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Nor am I. Thank you. Mike Messina working on Kevin Jordan. 1-2 pitch on the ground at shortstop Mike Bordick. He'll gun down Jordan. Well, Messina has one here in the Phillies third.
Well, we talked it, and Roger Hayden just talking about the heat. This will, if you're a pitcher, separate the boys from the men. You can pitch a 98-degree temperature, and you're looking at one of the most highly conditioned athletes in all of baseball. And how's he do it? Does his running, does his weight work, and also shags his rear end off. You've said it many times, he might be one of the better Oriole outfielders.
Think so? There's Tom Prince now, the right-handed hitting catcher.
I'd like him if I was pitching, because he's always constantly jumping over the walls trying to bring back fly balls that end up being home runs in batting practice. I'm not sure that Mike Hargrove doesn't get a little nervous watching that.
I don't think it's any great secret that Mike Messina would, I'm sure, like to convince his skipper to put him in the lineup here and there as an outfielder.
Well, you always, I think, as a pitcher, you figure if somebody's going to get hurt, going to be down low on players, and you're going to have a chance to go to the outfield. And even get the hit.
Well, you talked about when you broke in under Hank Bauer, you did some pinch running.
I actually pinch hit for one of the great hitting pitchers of all time. That's because he pitched poorly, and that was Don Larson. Hank was so upset with him, he sent me up there to hit for him. Oh, a little embarrassed doing that.
And how'd you fare? No. Make contact?
Well, I mean, I obviously started out. I was a 3 for my first 4 in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And then we got to, I told the story, we got to Cleveland. They had the 750 up there, and 3 curveballs later, I was hitting 3 for 5.
A humbling experience, right?
Yep. Kind of like hitting Hoyt Wilhelm's knuckleball.
Would you ever go in, though, late in the game defensively or because of a situation short on players?
No.
Get in the outfield? No.
We were never that short.
Aha. Now the truth comes out.
No, I could play the outfield during batting practice. The game was a little different.
I just figured your adversary, Earl Weaver, might say, you know what? Go ahead and go out there. Let's see what you have. You want to go out there, you go ahead and do it.
I did suggest Earl some days. I said, you know, can I play left and pitch at the same time? No, I'm only kidding.
No,
there he is.
No, you're not kidding.
No, there were.
You're not.
There we are. Boy, those were good looking unis.
Love those unis, huh? 3-2 to Prince. Again, bounce foul.
Now, Tom, of course, Tom Davis knows how those. He probably knows the year. I just remember back in the year
71.
71.
Did you like those unis?
No, they only wore them one time. I think it was the 420 game winners, and then they bagged them. After that, they thought Boog looked like a blown up strawberry.
Well, did you get a load of a Boog in the blood red of the Cleveland Indians?
Oh, that was awful.
Up the middle, Bordick will dive, knock it down, but not be able to make a play on Tom Prince. So Prince with an infield base hit as he battled Messina and finally got the 3-2 pitch off the glove of Mike Bordick.
Yeah, Bordick, he's going to lay out here trying to come up with it, and the ball just comes up a little bit, goes off the top of his glove. Otherwise, maybe a chance. But Prince, you described it well. Battled him to finally get a little bit of a cut fastball up in the zone and hit it hard enough to get it by Bordick.
So Prince is aboard with that one-out infield base hit for Doug Glanville now. And Messina will work out of the stretch. Glanville trying to bunt his way aboard. Did you get a chance, though, either one of you guys, when Boog went over to Cleveland?
I pitched against him.
To see him when he had on that all-red outfit of the Tribe.
It was awful.
Yeah. Well, but, you know, the way we got those orange uniforms that we saw in the picture was the Butch Robinson had a sporting goods shop.
Yeah.
And we bought them through him. And I think Eddie Finger, the softball player, was coming through, and we wanted to make him feel at home.
The king in his court.
That's right.
They were lost kind of quickly, though, weren't they?
Well, Tommy Chope, the numbers were so large, and they didn't actually, they didn't sit properly on the back of the uniform. So Tommy Chope was 28, and the bottom of the bottom half of the 8 was somewhere down by his rear end. They thought he was Frank Robinson. It looked like 20. They were horrible.
Glanville's bound and determined he's going to test Jeff Conine at third base.
Well, it almost looks like he's squaring around a sacrifice, except that they're down by 2 runs and there's 1 out. And that doesn't. That's not your typical bunt for a base hit. And he's up on the grass. He's going to move in. Little Greg Nettles. There we go. He sees the bunt. He comes in. Now you look down at Nettles, and Nettles be way back there, but he'd be creeping in as the pitch was delivered.
All right, Messina's 1-2. Oh, he wanted that inside corner on that knuckle curve. He might hold that pose a little bit for Al Clark.
Well, our southwest plane view would have showed that ball just, as umpires would tell you, went around the plate.
Ball on a big hop at Bordick. They'll get the force for 1, and that's all. No chance to double up the speedy Glanville. But the O's cut down the lead man. And now we'll go to work on Desi Relaford. Look at this Orioles team defense. Checking the latest numbers, 5th in the American League in fielding as a team. But that can be a little bit misleading. They are 5th. The Orioles have made 36 errors in this their 60th game of the year.
Well, we always talk about how small this ballpark and it is. And I think when last weekend, and I don't do that many away games, but when you go up to a big park like Montreal, you see a big difference. You see it in the speed. You see it in the throwing ability. Here at Camden Yards, if you charge the ball well, both Sir Hoff does that and Albert Bell in right field, you're going to get some assists. We saw that last year. It reflects that. But if we take a look at the outfield, if you go around, you can see where they're not playing very deep. Now, you're playing in the right position here at Camden Yards, but you're playing pretty shallow. So if you charge the ball, you're going to have a play, even with some of the faster runners. But you get them up in a big ballpark where you have to cover a little bit more territory. You see how important it is to have a guy like Guerrero, Rondo, White, and also Bergeron, who we saw up in Montreal.
Jim, I think you can also take that into the inner defense as well, the infield. When you look at our errors, a true indicator of how many balls that are successfully gotten to by an infielder, as opposed to balls that maybe get by for a base hit. Glanville's going as the run and hit being applied by Terry Francona as Relaford fouled it away.
And the old 2-1 count. You figure Messina's going to be around the plate. You open up a hole the minute you start the runner. You got somebody wild. What happens is the ball's up in the strike zone. But then again, it's a perfect situation here because you have a guy that can fly at first. You know, the highest stolen base percentage in the National League last year.
Got him on the 2-2 knuckle curve, inning over. Mike Messina has gone through the Phillies through 3, giving up the 1 home run to Rob Ducey. Orioles lead at 3-1 as Messina racks up his 3rd K of the day. Shields to lead it off against Andy Ashby for the Orioles here in the bottom of the 3rd. Shields picked up an RBI, his 30th of the year. An infield bounce out back in the opening inning. Shields, Bell, and Surhoff. This is 3, 4, and 5 from Mike Hargrove.
And you can see over the last 26 games, a little bit of a struggle for the lineup. I asked him, I saw him this morning, I said, did he hit 3rd very often? He said, yeah, in high school. And I said, what do you find a difference? And he said, not really. He said, but I can't get away from my game. He said, you know, they're playing me deep in the infield. He said, then I got to bunt. Even though I'm a 3rd place hitter where you expect, you know, an high average and home runs, he said, I got to do what I do best, which is try to get on base. And especially when Albert's as hot as he is. So that's my job, whether I'm hitting 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. Of course, they're going to play deep right here because it counts full.
And you see how far swung around to left. Doug Glanville is in center field. 10 yards to the left field side of second base. The Shields going to go that way with a line shot base hit. Starting out the O's here in inning number 3.
And that defense tells you they're going to pitch him away and play him that way. Except that as he did last night, as he did a couple of nights before, the approach is 3-2. I want to get on base. If they don't throw me a strike, I'll take the walk. They do. I just do what I do real well when I'm on the ball. Left front shoulder stays in, and he just hits a line drive for a base hit.
6th base hit of the day through 2 innings, plus 1 hitter here in the 3rd for the Birds. Albert Bell. Albert sent Bobby Abreu back to the auxiliary board on a fly ball that carried his first turn. There's a breaking ball from Ashby. Ashby with San Diego in that 1998 World Series in which they were swept by the New York Yankees. He pitched Game 2 at Yankee Stadium, and it's one he'd just as soon forget as the Yankees lit him up with 7 runs and 10 hits and just 2 2/3 on their way to their Game 2 win. Another breaking ball, so he's doubled up on the bender to get ahead of Bell.
You never know until you see somebody in that particular scenario. And here's another breaking ball. Good one, and this one just kind of right down the chute. But Albert may have been looking for something else. And again, Ashby, you know, you pitch in a World Series, a lot of times depending on what the score is as far as, you know, how your team is doing, sometimes you almost have to assume the role of the #1 starter.
There he tried to crossfire Albert Bell, dropped down a little bit.
Well, I talked to him yesterday. I said, you just got to believe that you can do that. And even if you're not able to do it this afternoon, you're going to work to do that, because he just said, I haven't been able to make quality pitches. You can see him moved all the way to the left side of the pitching rubber. If you look right here, we'll show you a little bit later, he's trying to get that outside corner.
Bell with a drive to deep right center. Abreu on the track. He's going to reach up and make the grab. That ball did not carry. The fly ball Bell hit in the first did. That ball seemed to die as Abreu got back to put it away.
Well, pretty good swing. You just wondered maybe Albert got a little bit up on the bat or out towards the end.
And there's B.J. Surhoff now. B.J. grounded out to second baseman Kevin Jordan his first time. And Surhoff moving back up in Mike Hargrove's hitting lineup. The number 5 spot in the order. B.J. had stayed in that number 8 spot, maybe 7th occasionally, as he battled his way out of a recent slump.
And what they did is they put Will Clark with 6 RBIs and no home runs hitting 5th. You're not going to score a lot of runs doing that. Will Clark has been getting on base. On base percentage still at about .420.
Fly ball left center field. Rob Ducey back on the track to put it away. Tagging is DeShields, and he'll move up into scoring position. And Bell to right center. Surhoff with a fly ball to deep left center, but both of them stayed in the yard. KO's fans, you can enter the Kids Post Field of Dreams contest, and you could win a week at the Cal Ripken Baseball School. Send a postcard with your name, address, phone number, and age. The address you see on your screen. Now, if your name is selected and Baltimore turns a double play on the HTS game you're matched with, you'll be entered in the Baseball School Grand Prize drawing. For more details, log on to HTSonline.com or check out Kids Post in the style section of the Washington Post. The Ripken Baseball School. Cal and Billy have put their stamp on teaching the game the Ripken way. In the tradition of their dad, Cal Sr. Jeff Conine with a drive to center. Glanville is going to amble back near the track. He's got it. And the Orioles are done in inning number 3. Hit the ball hard, but don't put any on the board. Coverage of Orioles baseball on a scorcher of a Sunday afternoon at the Yard, being brought to you by Toyota and the all-new Camry Solara. Also by Bob Davidson Ford, home of Baltimore's best deals. They'll make it happen. And by Heineken. It's all about the beer. Heineken. The Inner Harbor in all of its splendor, with all of the water traffic going on, and kind of a nice place to be. There's some cooling breezes out there in the waters of the harbor, we hope anyway, as we look at our Time Bridge Technologies trivia. Who was the last Philadelphia Phillies player to lead the National League in runs driven in? Well, a lot of candidates there. Last Phillies player to lead the National League in runs driven in. Was it a Hall of Famer, or somebody doesn't accomplish that since? You think about it, and we'll come back and revisit. As Mike Messina going back to work on this 3-1 Orioles lead, he'll face the heavy lumber of this Phil's lineup. Bobby Abreu, Scott Rowland. Doesn't have to deal with Mike Lieberthal today, who's hit 5 home runs, at least not right now anyway, not in the starting lineup. 5 home runs here at the Yard. Man on deck, Scott Rowland with 4. So, Jim, this club comes in, once maybe every other year or so, and they were here last year, and now in 3 series, Lieberthal and Rowland have combined for 9 home runs against the Orioles here at Camden Yards.
Yeah, and Lieberthal 14 for 29, along with those 5 home runs. I guess the irony is that Lieberthal a long time ago was the Orioles talked about trying to get him because as a #1 draft choice, he hadn't really produced early on, and then he came in a hurry. 31 home runs last year, 300 on the nose. 2
2-2 now on Bobby Abreu.
Almost a definitive statement on how Mike Messina can pitch and how difficult it is to sit on any one pitch is the first at bat to Abreu. Ran the count to 3-2 and then dropped off one of the most beautiful knuckle curveballs that just froze him. Could not even get the bat over his shoulder. We're talking about a .335 hitter.
Round ball to the right of Mike Bordick. He'll circle and come across to Will Clark to cut down Abreu.
And once you do something like that, the whole world notices. The whole baseball world notices, and especially their bench. You can't look for any one pitch. You think it's a fastball count, it may not be because he's got a great changeup. You think you're going to get a fastball hit, well, you may not because he's got the cutter that he didn't used to have. You think it's a fastball count, you might get one of the two knuckle curveballs.
Here's Scott Rowland. Third game back off the DL. This series coincided with his return to the Phillies lineup. And there's the heater from Messina as he challenges the big right-handed hitting third baseman.
And when you do get the fastball, a lot of times you can't get to it because it's got good movement and it's usually got good location.
Rolling with a drive to right and deep. Bell on the track. He can't get there. Got by him in one hop up into the seats. The automatic double for Scott Rowland.
Well, you know, I was actually talking to Scott Rowland today about, he said, why do they not have a cinder here? Why do they have the rubberized turf? They just put this in Dodger Stadium. And here's a fastball. We talked about good location. That wasn't. And Albert Bell doesn't track that ball that well. Didn't get a particularly good jump. Could have made a nice run and played, unable to get to it, and the ball goes off the track for a double.
There's Rob Ducey now as Messina will bring the fastball to get ahead. Ducey went deep on Messina. Back in the second inning with the long solo home run to deep right. Rolling in scoring position with one out. Well, that's tardy as Ducey late as Messina threw it right by him. But not that pitch.
No, it wasn't. They tried to go in, and you know, listening to Tim McCarver and Joe Buck yesterday, and McCarver made a very good point. When you're going in, you better get it in. And Mike didn't.
Ducey spoiled that 0-2 fastball for Messina.
But again, if you looked at Ducey the last two nights, he has not gotten to the ball away. So a lot of times when you hit the ball in, what happens is that that means that you're pulling off. So you don't have the plate coverage away. You can hit the mistake in, which is what it appeared that he did. But he is in a hole at 0-2.
Ducey was getting the call in left field today with Ronnie Gant beginning this game on the bench. Terry Francona getting Hunter and Jordan starts today. Here's the 1-2. This is ripped at deep right, but it's going to hook foul. Rob Ducey on home run number 2 in, as you see, the 10 plate appearances against Messina. Maybe thinking about some different ways to go after this left-handed swinger. Popped him up on the left side. Jeff Conine down toward the plate in fair territory to squeeze it. And Ducey's gone for out number 2. Pat Burrell, and let's see what type of adjustments Pat Burrell made. Jim is a DH today. He had a lot of time to spend in there with Hal McRae after his first attempt against Mike Messina, and Messina made him look bad on the sliders down and away.
And there's another one. And I don't see any reason with a young hitter that's in his first major league year to make any changes when he shows you he can't adjust. Now, the other part of the equation is that he's just had to try to hit 3 of the best sliders that Messina's thrown all year. They've all been perfect with break and location.
Stopped by Greg.
Yeah, very nice. But I was talking to Hal McRae, and I said, tell me a little bit about Pat Burrell. I said, I talked to him yesterday, and he said, you know, you never want to get jammed. And Hal said, well, look at him. He's young. He's inexperienced. He's 6'4", 230 pounds, and nobody that size wants to get jammed. But in this day and age, you don't have to worry until you get to 2 strikes to the ball inside. Because if you do, it's almost like you're hitting with 2 strikes every time you go to home plate. So he's going to have to make some adjustments, not only maybe with his swing, but also with his approach. And that's part of the maturation, the experience factor that young hitters have to go through. He's got 3 home runs, and when I talked to Pat Burrell yesterday, he said all of them have come later in the ball game when I've had a chance to see. He said that's the way I operate. I mean, I feel like I have to see somebody, see the movement, see the break.
He'll get a full day's dose of that with Mike Messina.
And what makes Messina so tough, and we've said it again, and we've said it so many times, is that the 3rd time you might think you have him figured out, and he will totally change the way he's pitched. And that's why he's so gifted, because he can do that. And not too many pitchers can say that. They got to try to get you out one way or no way.
All right, Messina ready to go with a 1-1 to Burrell. Came off that slider and gummed the fastball right by him.
See, and that's why he's late on the fastball, so now he's going to have to cheat a little bit. And this ball pretty much in the middle of the plate, but he just throws him right by him. So now that he's late on it, he's going to have to get out in front a little bit, which means he's going to have to commit early, which makes him susceptible to the slider.
And the 1-2. Struck him out. Went right upstairs to blow away Burrell. Inning over. Mike Messina's 4th K. 2nd time he's fanned Pat Burrell. 3-1.
Good inning after Jeff Conine had singled to left field. Will Clark steps up and hits his first home run since July the 24th of last season. Will Clark going deep for a 2-run homer for the Orioles, and that's the reason why the Orioles lead the Phillies 3-1 headed to the bottom half of the 4th inning. And Will Clark's up, and more from Michael.
Okay, Tom, thank you. Will Clark, yes, making the first grand tour of the bases since that July 24th day. So Clark now in the books. With the first, Jim was mentioning, only a 300 career hitter, but still with boundless enthusiasm and passion for the game. No question about that. Clark is actually one of the Orioles that will get vocal as he skies a fly ball to Rob Ducey in left for out number 1 here in the 4th. We see Clark going to the mound quite a bit and having conversations with on the likes of Sidney Ponson, Jason Johnson. And as we said, Jim, he is one of the guys in the clubhouse, and there is not an overabundance of them that will lend some words occasionally as far as to some of the younger pitchers.
No, there's no doubt about that. I mean, that's the positive part of the Will Clark experience. I mean, he comes and gives you what he can. Physically limited last year. My wife had open heart surgery right before spring training, and then the elbow problems, the broken thumb, etc. But when you look at Will Clark and you realize what position he plays, and then you look at what the Orioles had for 5 years, that's a big hole to plug. It's not his fault. Just the Orioles unable to come up with any kind of contractual agreement with Palmeiro, and he averaged 115 RBIs, 37 home runs. So you try to go get somebody that's going to bring maybe some of the intangibles.
Baines with a ground ball on a big hop to Kevin Jordan. Harold got jammed by Andy Ashby as he bounces out. Baines 0 for 2.
But those tangibles, the 37 home runs, I mean, it's just hard to replace.
Yeah. Teasing Will yesterday, happened to see him on, in the offseason. Will hosts many of the national sports type outdoor hunting and fishing shows. And they'll usually bring some other player from Major League Baseball in, and they'll go in search of big game somewhere, be it on land or in the waters. Happened to see one of those shows yesterday that re-aired from last baseball's offseason. You know what? Will might have an opportunity to get into this business someday, Jim, when he calls it quits. Myers with a ground ball up the middle. Jordan to his right to throw out the Birds catcher. And it's a quick fourth inning for Andy Ashby. Orioles lead it 3-1.
Back to Baltimore's Camden Yards with Dave Norton and Bernie Walter from the Crown All-Star Game. The game's going to be played right after this game. How many of them have been played?
The 19th annual.
Now, tell us some of the players that have played in this past.
Denny Nagel, Brian Jordan are both in the big leagues, and a whole bunch of guys after that.
How's the selection process go? I know they're all high school players.
Well, we start off with 4 region tryouts. There are about 60 to 70 kids in each region, and we cut it down to 2 squads of 15 players.
And what are the rewards for it after the game is over?
I think it's a special thing to play in a big league stadium like this. They'll remember this forever.
Now, it used to be at Memorial Stadium 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, Memorial, and then we came back to Camden Yards. We had someone hit one out at Memorial Stadium. We've had a couple off the wall here, but not out yet here in Camden Yards.
All right, it should be a fun time this afternoon. After the Orioles play, it'll be the Crown All-Star Game, the 19th annual. Let's go back up to Michael and Jim.
Yeah, Tommy, good stuff, and we hope that, who knows, maybe in a few years we'll see another Denny Nagel or another Brian Jordan. Baltimore guys. I wonder if Jeff Nelson, Tony Saunders, guys like that, Jim, who also are from this area that made it to the big leagues, played in this particular game.
I didn't think they would have dropped their names if they had, but they just went with the hitters. It's that kind of year.
Denny Nagel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Left-handed pitchers and hitters.
Okay. Ryan Hunter bouncing it foul. And mentioning we saw Brian Hunter here in interleague baseball as he played with the Atlanta Braves. A couple of Brian Hunters around the big leagues.
Yeah, but this guy hits home runs. I mean, this guy is a long ball threat. Big swing. He's going to get it going.
Not there, though, and it got away from Myers, and he's not going to be able to recover to throw out Hunter. So that's strikeout number 5 for Mike Messina. And that's all well and good, but the Phillies get their leadoff man aboard as it got away from Greg Myers on the strikeout of Hunter.
I mean, a terrific breaking ball, except the problem is it's just going to probably bounce right about Greg Candy over in this area, right down at the feet. That ball goes down so sharply. Myers, you can see, not even able to get the glove down. Didn't prepare very well for that breaking ball. The glove not coming down underneath the ball, actually trying to catch it from a very unusual angle.
Kevin Jordan lifting it out of play, left side. That will get scored as a strikeout, of course, for Messina, his 5th, and a wild pitch charged to Mike. And Jordan getting the call at second base today. And we've watched Mickey Morandini play second base first 2 games of this series. 4 base hits and drove in a run last year in the 2 series against the O's. Well, there's that knuckle curve from Messina. You don't see it a lot. You're a National League hitter, and now facing the Orioles ace. I mean, I use the term paralyzing, Jim, and it can do just that to you.
First pitch strike to 13 out of 17. Last night, Sidney Ponson, I was looking at Sammy Ellis, the pitching coach's chart. He was first pitch strike to 19 out of 31 batters that he faced.
That's line to right. Bell coming on. He makes the basket grab. The throw back to Clark. Double play.
Well, that's what I was talking about as far as at Camden Yards. If you charge your ball, whether it's a ground ball or a line drive, you're not playing that deep. Now, not very good base running by Hunter because he gets off the base. And Albert just comes up, throws a perfect strike to Clark, and you got yourself a double play. No hesitation. Plays right in front of him. Strong throw. Nice catch. 2 outs.
Outfield assist for Albert Bell. So Brian Hunter, Jimmy fanned. I guess he wasn't supposed to be there anyway, huh?
He got the message.
He got the message. You struck out. You shouldn't be aboard. So now you must get doubled up. There's Tom Pritz now. And this is popped up. Behind the plate, foul territory. Greg Myers to squeeze. And we're halfway home at the yard. Orioles lead Philly 3-1.
What do you think? Was I right or wrong?
I don't know. There's 3 guys that are online right there. They must not have cheap gas. And it looked to me, it looks like Letitz, Pennsylvania. Letitz? What do you think?
I would have to see it again. Brady Anderson with a line drive, base hit left field. There's a bat that's been online today. Brady with 3 base hits, and all of them line drives, doubled, and now a pair of singles. Next time we take our little trek around town, why don't we head north, Tommy, and after we stop at the Basilica, head north and see if we can find that town in Pennsylvania. How's that?
That town.
It's a deal.
Well, that town, we're all just speculating on what the name might be. So if any of you know, drop us a note, all right? What is it? Lititz. Okay. You've already tried going there. No.
Well, so we've both taken, and Tom and I have taken our best shot.
Wait a second. Jeff, our stat man, said it's Lititz.
Yeah, like I said, it's Lititz.
That
makes much more sense.
Because he's got friends living there.
Yeah, that's what you said, Jim.
No, I didn't say that. I said that makes much more sense.
Here's Mike Bordick now with Anderson on. And this is popped up. Major league pop-up on the right side. Brian Hunter to take care of it. So Bordick is gone for the first out today here in the 5th. And a big crowd here at the yard, as always seems to be the case. Interleague baseball packs them in here at Oriole Park. There's Delino to Shields now. Face Ashby. That is roped to right. It'll drop for a base hit. Anderson will check in at second base on the line drive single from Delino to Shields. Delino is 2 for 3 on the day. Going each way with his pair of base hits. Anaheim Angels are coming to the yard to do another weekend series. That's a week from now. 3-game weekend set, June 16, 17, and 18. Tickets still remain for all 3 games. Get your tickets by calling that familiar number you see on your screen or visit at the Orioles website. There's Albert Bell. Albert looking to extend the hit streak now. It stands at 12. He's flied out both trips today against Ashby. And Bell in another RBI situation here. As he takes a called strike on the inside corner.
And I think Albert looking for a breaking ball because he's seen a steady dose of them.
Albert was mired in a situation where he was taking a lot of fastball strikes on 2-0, maybe on 2-1. But since turning things around, that obviously has, we talked about, he's using all fields. Become I think, much more aggressive hitter, Jim, bottom line.
And I think also what happens is you look at the RBI total in his last 12 games. If you're not seeing the ball well, you swing at bad pitches. In other words, pitchers pitches early in the count, so you get behind. Now he's taking those pitches. He's getting better hitting count.
1-1 pitch is roped to deep left center. Glanville track, and it's off the wall. Anderson will score. To Shields to get stopped at third as Albert Bell's bat continues to blister and make a lot of noise in the middle of the Orioles lineup. RBI number 37 for Bell. Bumped the hit streak up to 13.
And this ball almost goes out of here. thigh-high outside part of the plate. Great extension. You can see the bat. It's gotten a lot quicker in the last couple of weeks. And that ball about 2/3 of the way up the wall. Brady makes it 4-1, and Delino DeShields will stop at third. A little intentional walk right here. Try to get out of this inning with one pitch. Bring up the right-hander Jeff Conine.
First base open. Terry Francona says let's not fool around with B.J. Surhoff. And it will set up double play possibilities all over the diamond for the Phillies.
First, Conine came in as a .350 hitter, 7 for 20. He's now 8 for 21. Line drive base hit the first time, and then actually hit the ball even better as he lined out to Glanville in center field.
Jeff Conine now to get an opportunity, but first Galen Cisco to the mound, and we'll chat with Andy Ashby. The man right there was a standout college football player. Played for Woody Hayes at Ohio State. Galen Cisco, we're speaking of, the pitching coach of the Phillies. Remember the late Joe Sparma, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Pitching staffs of
he pitched with actually
Wayne Lolich and Earl Wilson.
Right, in 1966.
Yeah. The reason I brought him up is like Galen Cisco, he was a quarterback for Woody Hayes at Ohio State.
Brian Ward, he has pitched in the last 2 games. And now 3rd straight day up. Unless you have any kind of arm problems on a day like today at 98, you can get loose in a hurry. 3 pitches. I'm ready.
How many would you need today? About 6 or 7? Be ready to go out
at
there?
my age?
Yeah.
A lot.
Oh, a lot. Okay. Look at It's one of those spinners, huh, Jim?
Oh, you get underneath it. You don't get on top. Instead of the ball, your fingers stand on top of the ball. It gets under. It's like kind of like throwing a frisbee because it's going sideways instead of a. Normally you want your breaking ball from that arm angle to kind of break from about 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Here's a 1-0 to Conine. He got in under his hands to even the count at 1-1.
Well, Jeff is a notorious first ball fastball hitter. That's why they've thrown him breaking balls all 3 times. There's your Southwest Airlines plane view. He also likes the ball better away from him. About the inner middle of the plate. Who doesn't like it there? And they're just trying to stay inside.
Jeff Conine 3 for 6 with the bases loaded this year as an Oriole. As aggressive as he is, you understand the logic of it with first base open. Boy, tough guy to have to face with the bases loaded after you pass Surhoff. Oh, Conine would like that back, huh? That fastball that looked like the middle of the plate, about bell high.
Well, it's frustrating that you get your pitch and you miss it, but I mean, look at the approach. They're trying to come in. It's a fastball count, 2-1, and just in enough where he can't quite get it. But the intent, you know what the intentions were right there.
Birds have put 1 on the board and looking for more with the bases full. And a 2-2 to Conine. It's bounced foul.
No, this is one of those situations. Here's Ashby. He won 14 games last year, 17 the year before. ERA over the last 3 years with San Diego at about 3.7 runs a game. Now the bases are loaded. If you're 6-2, you have no doubt you're going to be able to make a good pitch. When you're 2-6, you'll really question yourself.
Orioles trying to bust this one open here in the middle innings. Conine awaits another 2-2 from Andy Ashby.
Okay, and then he doesn't get the call. I mean, that's a pitch. When you're going good, Conine's back to the bench. When you're struggling and you're scuffling, You can see right there, Prince trying to bring it back over the plate. But Al Clark says no.
Now a 3-2 coming with 1 out to Conine. Ground ball right back to the mound. The Prince for 1, and that's all they'll get. Andy Ashby, from about 25 feet away, almost went right over the head of the catcher, Tom Prince.
And one of the reasons is that he's trying to hurry just in case you might have a double play. So what he doesn't do is he doesn't close the front shoulder. Makes a great pitch here. Low and away slider. And he's not going to turn his shoulder. Everything's open, and you're right, almost guns it into the... And right now, Tom Prince, I mean, he's trying to get the ball, come off the bag. Doesn't know if he tagged it, goes back, you get the force play. And no chance of the double play.
Well, the bases remain loaded. Here's Will Clark, who looks at a breaking ball for a called strike. So they got the force on the Shields at the plate. Bell, Surhoff, and Conine. Now man all the stations. Will Clark went out of here. His first of the year. On 2-run home run back in the second. Ground ball up the middle. Relaford to the bag, inning over. Orioles get 1 on Albert Bell's double, but leave the bases loaded. We're through 5, 4-1 Birds.
We asked it earlier, who was the last Philadelphia Philly player to lead the National League in RBIs? First, we'll let Jim Palmer take a guess. James?
I don't know. Mike Schmidt or Richie Allen. I don't get 2 guesses. I'll go with Schmidt. Probably. That's too obvious.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Schmidt myself.
And I'm going to go with Greg Lazinski.
Okay.
Darren Dalton.
Dutch Dalton.
Oh. I think we asked this one earlier. I should have remembered it.
Yeah, 1992, as he was known. Jim Fregosi was the manager of that club. And Fregosi, as we talked about earlier, will bring his Toronto Blue Jays in here in about 3 weeks. Mike Messina trying to bring his 4th win to the table as he faces the top of the Philadelphia offense. Doug Glanville, Desi Relaford, and Bobby Abreu here in the 6th.
That's still one of the better lines I ever saw. I asked Fregosi when he was managing the Phillies, I said, do you plan on resting Darren Dalton a little bit more because he had all those knee operations? He goes, best way to get fired. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, if I rested him on a Sunday, on a day game after a night game, he said all the women in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, they have the Sunday ticket plans because they want to come, because he was a good-looking guy. They want to come. He said, if I rest him, I'll be out of a job. So I guess the answer is no, right, Jim? He said, that's it.
And, of course, then you said, I can relate to that, Skip.
Is that humorous, Mr. Reggi?
Of course it's humorous.
We're going to be on a Mr. Reggi basis. No more Mike.
Well, because I hear it told that it's kind of the same way it was here around Baltimore back in the day.
No.
Jim, now when you came out to pitch in a weekend afternoon at Memorial Stadium, I'm sure that enhanced the game.
You never did. We didn't draw very much back then.
I remember when you were doing your underwear ads.
No, that's a whole other story.
Now
we're talking a whole different animal.
Wouldn't the ladies bring the underwear posters to the ballpark for you to sign?
Only Joan Jett.
Oh, come on. Only Joan.
Seriously.
2-2 to Glanville is flared for Mike Bordick to take care of. We were talking about Joan Jett last weekend up in Montreal with Ed Norton, right? But I doubt that Joan Jett was the only of the female species to bring the underwear poster to the yard now.
Might have been 1 or 2 more. I can't quite recall.
1 or 2 more?
1 or 2 more.
You had carpal tunnel signing all those things. You had to miss a few starts because of that.
No, I did have underwear thrown at me in Kansas City.
Thrown at you?
You know, when I was leaving the game in 7 2/3 innings, Sunday afternoon in Kansas City, score of 3-2 Orioles.
When you left the game, 3-2.
Tom Poquette coming up.
Morgana never went after you, though.
No, but I was on the mound when she did come out, and I had a, again, we've already talked about my ego. I thought she was coming to me, and she went right to George Brett.
How did that make you feel as Relaford skies it toward the line and left for B.J. Surhoff to take care of?
But the thing about Morgana is that actually, she came running out from down the left field line, and of course we're talking about Morgana, the stripper. And when she got to Brett, she really wasn't that far from me, and I was standing on the mound, and he was at home plate. It was a rather large.
So she got confused.
No, she didn't get confused.
She made a wrong turn. So
there was enough of Morgana to go around for both of us. Which was one of her claims to fame. So anyway, that's that story. And 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. How about that for a segue?
And to think this all began with Fredosi and Dalton. Some levity, folks, in the heat of a Sunday afternoon at the yard. Here's Bobby Abreu now. Messina has handled Abreu. You know, Jim, the old saying, we tease because we care.
Thank you, Mike. See, we're back from Mr. Reghi.
So, Mike, we're back on a first-name basis. Messina's 1-1. That'll be out of play, left field side.
The thing about Greg Myers, I think hasn't had a chance to do a whole lot, but when you watch him receive the ball, what's the target? How quiet it is. Well, it sits pretty much in the middle of the plate and then just a slight shift to wherever they want to go. Some of those all-star games where you get guys you're not used to, they move all the way across the plate. It's like getting a moving target.
So it can be a little bit.
Well, the target's very important because that's what you're throwing it. Just a little subtle move, a little bit in.
Ground ball right side. Will Clark play the hop. Shovels to Messina. That's a quick Phillies 6th. Mike Messina's through 5.5. Orioles lead at 4-1. Off against Andy Ashby. Birds came out of the gate with runs in the opening inning. Put 2 on the board in the second. And Albert Bell's RBI double. Added run number 4. And they take the 3-1 lead against Ashby here to the bottom of the 6th. The Orioles have hit Philly 9-3 on the day. Well, Harold 0 for 2, and that average down to 224.
And there's a perfect example of what's going on. I mean, good pitch to hit, pretty good swing, and just doesn't quite get to it. You look around baseball, Bobby Bonilla, with a high leg kick, he's kind of dropped his hand, tried to lower the leg kick. But, and part of it is the rhythm, part of it's the age factor. I mean, Harold's 41 years old, but, I talked to Terry Crowley and I said, what's going on with Harold? He said, there's a lot of moving parts. And, of course, now those moving parts have been so successful. But he just has to get his rhythm. And if that foot's not down, you're going to have him in trouble.
From that, but foul into the right field corner.
Because if you get over that front side, you're out in front of everything. And then we've seen them, like you said today, roll over in a couple of ground balls. And trying to stay back. And conversation with Cal. Cal, of course, as we mentioned, 7 for his last 15, so he's feeling pretty comfortable up there. And Harold trying to find that comfort zone.
Now the 2-2. Bouncing ball right over the bag for Brian Hunter. And Harold Baines 0 for 3 in the afternoon as he bounces out to Hunter. And this scalding day, as we said, Tommy's been talking with Roger Hayden today. Heat index reaching better than 100 degrees. Boy, we want to salute all of the men and women that worked so hard out in the elements at the yard on the day. And there's Donna Quante. Nice lid, Donna. I like that. Got the fans working today. Saw Mino Dukakis a moment ago. Was Eddie Lane behind the camera? I think it was. Kevin Santos. How you doing, Kevin? Stay cool down there. This is what the boys and girls do day in and day out. There's Elaine. Show us that pretty face, dear. Hiding. Okay. That's what we mean. A little bit heated. Jay Clark, who normally is, he's all around. He's kind of our guy that does it all on the crew as far as the cameras go. Phil Frazaka. Yeah. Stretch it out there, big guy. Myers with a ground ball hit slowly at Rowland. He'll bare hand and make that strong throw to cut down Myers.
I'll tell you, from what I've seen of Scott Rowland, I mean, he's a big guy, almost 6'5". I'm going to let him have them. Good sinker right there, which is what Ashby does best. And then a long way for Roland. Did it again last night. Snap throw. Myers doesn't run particularly well. A nice play. A lot of agility for a big guy.
Yeah, that's twice in this series that Roland has made barehanded plays while charging toward the plate and then made strong throws to get over those hitters. Here's Brady Anderson. Quite a day for Brady. 3 for 3. He's been a table setter for the Birds. Scored a couple of runs. Double and a pair of singles. Back up to 289 for Anderson.
Oh, nothing like being healthy.
Gang in center field. Everybody all right out there? Yes. All right. Thumbs up from everyone. But we do salute to all the men and women. Talk about a lot. Best production team in baseball, and they have to weather all of the elements. Sometimes the bad weather in April, and then the heat of this mid-Atlantic region in the summer. But they're there every day without fail. And bringing you all the sights and sounds of Orioles baseball. As that miss to Anderson. 2-2 now on Brady. Our audio man that we have a lot of fun with, Wayne Getz, is 64 degrees and cool comfort in here in the truck as Anderson rolls it up the line and kicking foul. So Brother Getz knows the only place to be in that climate-controlled production truck. They're still smiling, even though that the heat can get to them.
You can see Ashby taking Andy taking a lot of time. Kind of did a little semi-sprint to first. One of those days where you better get your breathing down.
2-2 pitch. This down 3-2 on Brady Anderson. Birds looking to win this series against the Philadelphia Phillies. This is a deciding game of it. Got him swinging. Inning over. We'll head to the 7th. Orioles lead it 4-1. Had the lead ever since. Brady Anderson has paced the Orioles attack, but Anderson, DeShields, and Mike Bordick have combined for 6 base hits, 2 of them from Delino DeShields, as Mike Messina giving up just 3 hits and fanned 5 as he starts inning number 7. Scott Rowland, first pitch swinging in the air to right. 1 pitch and 1 out for Mike Messina. When you look at Messina's last 5 starts, Jim, and taking a peek at that, going all the way back to Messina working against the Boston Red Sox, Boston, Texas, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and the New York Mets. And Mike has gone 7 innings or better with the exception of the win against the Mets. Hasn't lost since the setback at Texas back on the 20th of May.
And he pitched very well in that game. Gave up 2 runs.
And got beat 2-1.
But you look at it's yet to walk over 3 this entire season. And we're in this day of age with a very small strike zone and big, strong hitters.
Well, one thing you need to look at, and there's so many glittering statistics that dot Mike Messina's career resume, but career ERA coming into today at 3.52. That's all I need. I don't need to go any further than that to tell me that for 9 innings a man keeps his team in games and is always going to give you a chance to win.
And why is that? Because he's got all kinds of pitches. There's Kurt Schilling talking to Doug Glanville. And you know, at 31, he's the Kurt Schilling of this ball club. A lot of innings, capable of dominating a game. We certainly saw that in the postseason on many occasions. 22 times he struck out more than 10. Terrific fielder, 4 straight Gold Gloves. I'm not sure he's perspiring today.
Doesn't appear to be, huh? It's that good metabolism, right? Ducey didn't go, so the count runs full at 3-2. Ken Griffey Jr. just went out of the yard at Jacobs Field. 3-run shot. Chuck Finley had a 5-0 lead. That's gone now. Cincinnati has tallied 5 times and tied it up. As Messina will miss high to walk Rob Ducey. And with 1 out here in the 7th. There's that 8th inning tie now as Ken Griffey Jr. the 3-run home run. Take a look at our Geico Direct Baseball highlights from the insurance pros at Geico. It's been a tough day for Pat the Bat, as he's known, Pat Burrell. Messina dealing a slider by him, and then Jim in the 4th. A little bit different story, but same result.
Yeah, started him off with a slider and eventually gets to the high fastball and threw it right by him. So Mike walks his first batter, and that's Rob Ducey. You don't have to swing at it, but it looks awfully good. Very enticing.
As we said, if you're Pat Burrell right now, you've seen the whole repertoire from Mike Messina. You've probably never seen nothing like it coming through AA and AAA on your way to the big show. And Messina has him right there at 0-2 quickly.
So the decision for Mike is, you know, he's gotten him out with sliders, but they've been in perfect situations. He's late on the fastball. You don't want to speed up his bat. But then again, if you're Burrow and you're trying to make an adjustment, you've got to get a little bit quicker. And when you do that, once you establish the fastball, and that's what pitching's all about, the hitter respects it. He's got to cheat a little bit. He can't wait quite as long because he just knows he's not getting to the fastball.
He laid off the slider there. 1-2 on the young DH. Played first base with Pat Burrell the first 2 games of the series. The Phillies are hoping that they're going to line up Roland Lieberthal, Brayu Burrell in the middle of their lineup for many years to come. And Messina trying to go right back to that outside corner with that hard slider.
Yeah, that one at 87, the one before took a little bit off, more like a slurve at 83.
Now the 2-2. Towering fly ball. Right field. Albert Bell battling the sun to put it away.
Yeah, you had a good description before. He puts the glove up and tries to get a little bit to the side just to put the glove in alignment with the sun. He's following it right there, and then right there he sees it and has to make a little circle route. Finds it again, and you have it out. Not an easy afternoon. Hazy, very bright. A couple of puffy clouds in the sky. That's about it.
And if you're an outfielder or an infielder, you want those clouds. Huh? That helps you to gauge the baseball a little bit. High sky like this doesn't. Brian Hunter fouls it off. I think both the bat and the baseball got a little bit of Greg Myers. Well, can you imagine wearing all the gear behind the plate on a day like this?
Well, both the catcher and the ump. Al Clark doing the umpiring. But he's not quite as active, and he noticed that. You know, he's going to give Greg Myers a little bit of time.
Charles Johnson knows all about it. Everybody ready back around home plate for Messina's 0-1. Ryan Hunter today is flied out and fanned. He reached base as he struck out on a Messina wild pitch that got away from Myers. We're in the 7th. Good to have you along today here in the Scorcher at the yard. Orioles lead it by 3. Knuckle curve stayed high. Day off tomorrow for the Birds. One they will cherish, no question about that, Jim, as they just went through a stretch of only 17 in a row scheduled on the baseball calendar. That's nasty.
No, it really is. He just knew a fastball was coming, and then Mike throws a Pat Burrell slider, which means it's perfect outside corner. Not a whole lot you can do with that if you're a hitter.
And you can see how tight that was. Terrific look from our center field camera. That 2-2 pitch struck him out. Came down under his hands. Messina ringing up Hunter for the 2nd time today. Strikeout number 6. The Musketeers love it. Stretch it out. 4-1 O's.
MVP Ivan Rodriguez and the Texas Rangers visit Baltimore's Camden Yards for a 3-game series starting on Tuesday. Tickets still remain for all 3 games. Get your tickets at the Orioles box office by calling 1-888-848-BIRD or online at theorioles.com. 7th inning stretch completed. The Orioles in the bottom of the 7th inning. 4-1 lead over the Phillies and more for Michael and Jim.
Okay, Tommy, thank you. It's Mike Bordick to lead it off for the Birds here against Andy Ashby. Well, Ashby has given up the 4 runs through the first 6 that he's worked. Bordick with a towering drive to deep left. Ducey, track, wall, C.G. later as Bordick's going out of here. Number 12 on the year for the Birds shortstop. One Orioles.
Well, your Cats insurance runs, and it's exactly that. 4-1 becomes 5-1 in a hurry. 12th home run of the year. High fastball, quick stroke. And now one within his career high for home runs, and that was set 2 years ago when he hit 13.
Bordick's on a pretty fast track to do that, huh, Jim? This was game number 60 of the year for the O's.
Well, the one thing, even before he started working with Terry Crowley, he hit the ball on the inside half of the plate.
Delano to Shields on the 2-0 pitch. In the air to short left center. That's Rob Ducey to take care of it.
And I know we talk about this all the time, but again, I was talking to Brian Graham. Orioles spying this guy, one of the coach for Mike Hargrove in Cleveland, still a coach here in Baltimore, and he said he goes in and watches the drills that Terry Crowley does with Bordick and does with Surhoff and whatever, and he said, they're so thorough in the sense that it's almost like batting in a game. And if you can't cheat there, you can't cheat when you get out on the field. I mean, obviously it's a little bit harder in the sense that you may not know what's going, but it gets you in such good habits that when you do get pitches to hit, good pitches to hit, you have a better chance of hitting them. Plate coverage, balance, short stroke, one-handed strokes where you just hit it with your front hand. And Terry will say, listen, it's not about me. That's my job. But I have guys that want to do it.
Albert Bell off the end of the bat. Center field for Doug Langville. And that's 2 for Andy Ashby here in the 7th. The Orioles, in trying to win this series, have brought out the long ball bats, as we talked about at the top of the show today. 8 home runs against Philadelphia pitching as we look at Brian Ward, who's appeared, 2nd time he's been up today, and he's appeared in both games of this series. Only 8 home runs for the Birds. 5 of them have been solos. 4 of them came in the loss on Friday night. Will Clark and Mike Bordick. The long ball work for the O's today. Jay Surhoff's 0 for 2 officially as we look at Jason Johnson tuning up in the Orioles bullpen. And Johnson with the off day tomorrow, is going to get pushed back again. Erickson going on Tuesday, Pat Rapp Wednesday, and Sidney Poncel Thursday. Surhoff and a rocket to right. Get down in front of Bobby Abreu. DJ with his first hit of the afternoon. Take a look at our IWIF injury report for the Orioles. Calvin Maduro has begun throwing. He's well on his way to getting back to the big club. That's a possibility when he's ready. Mike Jackson, Scott Aldred, we talked to you about the two pitchers on Terry Francona's staff. The closer, Mike Jackson, out for the year. Enrico Bronya left about 5 weeks ago with a broken forearm, and still probably is, they're thinking after the All-Star. So he's a good month or more away.
And he's coming off an awfully good year, Bronya.
Well, here's Jeff Conine now. 2 down, and Surhoff at first base. The Orioles loaded the bases after Surhoff was intentionally passed in the 5th. And then Ashby got Conine and Will Clark in the threat. And quickly it's Ashby ahead of Conine.
And this most likely, if Andy Ashby cannot get Jeff Conine out, will be his last hitter. Lefty in the bullpen up, ready. And a lefty on deck in Will Clark.
Check swing, and it's going to kick foul. Well, the Orioles trying to go to 16-10 here at home. Of course, we've talked about Orioles winning 9 of their first 10 here at the Yard. And Mike Hargrove, who, as we know, in his first year at the helm of this ball club. There's the 0-2 to Conine. In the air to center and deep. Glanville on the track, looking up. See you later. Jeff Conine has just left the yard. The big muscle of the Orioles continuing here at their home plate bench. Number 7 on the year for Conine. 3rd of the day for the Birds. They're giving Mike Messina some cushion today.
Yeah, all day long they've been trying to stay away from the fastball, and that ball down the middle, thigh high. And we talked about the ball carrying. You hit the ball well, which is exactly what Conine does. It just carries right out of here.
That's it for Andy Ashby, so he's going to walk off the mound with not a chance to get win number 3. Mel Atlantic call to the pen. We'll be right back.
Vision Network games Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings here at Baltimore's Camden Yards. Michael?
Okay, Tom, thank you. Brian Ward, 3rd time in this series we see the left-hander. He's facing the left-handed hitting first baseman of the Birds, Will Clark, as the Orioles have jumped out now to the 6-run lead.
Yeah, good habit to get into. 11 runs last night. And Ward gave up 3 of them. 2 inherited runners came in after Jason Boyd left a couple of guys on, and Albert smoked a home run left center field.
Clark tried to check and went too far. Ward is quickly ahead of him at 1-2. And Will got the good feeling back today. He launched a 2-run home run deep to the seats in right center field. His first trip to the plate in the 2nd inning. His first round tripper of the year. So the Orioles talk about run support from Mike Messina, Jim. This is one of those breakout days that Messina has found so rare this year. He got 4 in beating the Mets. And no decision as the Orioles got beat at Tampa 4-3. 5-1 over Seattle. His start back here at the Yard in the last week of May. Clark fans inning over as Ward gets Will on the slider. Birds go for a long ball the 7th inning. Mike Bordick touching up, and the Ashby and woodwork from Jeff Conine. A 2-run shot. 7-1 O's now for Mike Messina, and going to the 6-run lead as Mike's trying to get back to that 500 mark. You can only pick up one day at a time one game at a time every 5th day that you go to the mound, and this will be win number 4 if Messina can stay on course here in the late inning. Kevin Jordan, right-handed hitting second baseman, to lead it off against Mike Messina. It's lined up the middle, base hit, center field. Lead-off base hit for Jordan. What was that pitch count at? Jeff Herbert up here in the booth with us. 109. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, but 109 and 98-degree temperatures. Not exactly 109, and I think that's what they'll look for. They'll look for location. That ball belt high out over the plate. Maybe getting a little bit tired. A little bit of a long inning that inning. And that's why the bullpen's up throwing.
There's a catcher now, the number 9 hitter, Tom Prince. Prince, base hit up the middle, and also popped out today. Prince, as you see, not getting many opportunities, and well, that's a lot of a backup catcher when you work behind one of the best in the business, like Mike Lieberthal is. You play what, Jim, 1 day a week? About it. Messina's 1-1 to Prince to get ahead of him at 1-2.
Yeah, Mike, likes strikeouts. Who doesn't? But this is the time of the game you'd love to throw a nice little ground ball at one of your infielders. Turn the double play, and with one pitch, get 2 outs.
Buddy Groom, the left-hander closest to you. Mike Trombley also working in the O's pen. On the slider, he did not go, says C.B. Buckner. Oh, and now Buckner and Will Clark are going after it. Oh, and there's a little bit of nose-to-nose there.
And you better get away, Will. I didn't think he swung. And I can certainly see why Will Clark would want to think that he swung, because it's an out. And you're right there. It's a strike. That's why.
Now Will Clark involved with Rick Reed. We talked about Will being the most vocal of the Oriole regulars.
Well, this is what C.B. Buckner is going to be looking at from that angle at first base. Did the bat go out in front of home plate? Yep. I can see what Will Clark's saying. You can see him bring it back, but that and of course he's been standing out there and he's saying, I didn't see it that way. But that bat well out in front of home plate.
Well, just like the temperature has been rising all day. Will Clark's heat index doing the same. That's a fair ball inside. Conine in the bag into the left field corner. Surhoff will hit the cutoff man, Mike Bordick, on the double off the bat of Tom Prince. And now Mike Messina and Al Clark are talking about it. And Mike Hargrove's on his way out to the mound. Well, the single from the number 8 hitter Jordan, and now the 2-base hit from the number 9 hitter Tom Prince put a couple in scoring position.
I heard your definitive angle. Where's the ball going? See, it doesn't have to be in fair territory. I'll tell you, pretty close. I'm not sure that ball was fair, even though Hunter Wendelstedt says it is.
Well, I mean, see, it was the far corner of the bag.
All the ball has to do is come right over that corner of the bag. I mean, he's looking right there. I mean, that's a very, very close call. He's right there. And I bet everybody wondering whether it was fair or foul.
From the angle looking up the line from the plate to third base, it looked like it kicked, made that left turn foul before it got over corner of the bag. But Hunter Wendelstedt did not see it that way. So, couple in scoring position. But again now, the Orioles have a 6-run lead here. And Mike Hargrove out and letting Mike Messina go to it. And Messina's looking for some outs, even if it's in exchange for the 2 in scoring position. Glanville with a fly ball left center field. Anderson to put it away. Tagging is Jordan. He'll come to the plate. So there's what I just talked about. Give up that one. Oh, yeah. You got your 1 out. Now there's a little bit more order to this inning as the Phils cut the deficit to 5 at 7-2.
Well, you're 5 outs away from winning this game if somehow you can keep them from scoring 5 runs. And you never like to give up runs, not when you're as good as Mike Messina. But you did go to Stanford, and you do understand the nature of this game. You'll give up an out for a run right there.
Give Glanville the RBI. And here's Desi Relaford. On the ground, and Mike Bordick. I'll make that snap throw to cut down Relaford. With Prince moving to third. So, talk about outs, and on 2 pitches, Mike Messina has 2 of them.
Well, he just keeps the ball out of the middle of the plate. I mean, Prince got a ball in the middle of the plate. He hit it fairly hard over the bag. But the ball to Glanville was a breaking ball that went down and away. That ball out on the outside third of the plate, maybe quarter of the plate. Relaford hit it on the end of the bat. So location so important. Movement, obviously. But see, that ball, it just runs away. So you think you got it centered if you're a hitter, but you don't. The ball you think you're going to hit on the barrel of the bat, you hit on the end. And it makes it a pretty routine play for Bordick.
There's Bobby Abreu. Towering fly ball to left. Surhoff with room. Inning over. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th. Phillies get 1, and then Mike Messina gets struck. 7-2 Birds.
Tonight, Michael.
Conversation going on, Tom, between Mike Hargrove, Will Clark, and Mike Messina as they discuss the situation that occurred in the 8th inning. One would think. Will Clark, very heated and very animated at both C.B. Buckner, the first base umpire, and then Rick Reed, the second base umpire, who came in and joined. There's Harold Baines now. Harold had 0 for 3 this afternoon. Second game since he began his big league career some 18 years ago, hitting in the number 8 offensive lineup.
What did he say in the morning paper? He said it's a lot better than hitting 10th.
Yeah.
Just a man of few words, but succinctly said.
3-1 now on Baines. Greg Myers and then Brady Anderson. So 3 left-handed bats. 8, 9, and 1 here against the lefty. Brian Ward is working in his 3rd straight game of the series. And 5 pitches. Harold Baines with a leadoff walk for the O's here in the 8th. Gabe Molina. Going to get some 9th inning work, it would appear. 3rd stint with the Orioles this baseball season.
Think he's coming in?
So. You don't, huh?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that'd be my choice, but I don't manage this team.
And again, that's correct.
Thank you.
Greg Myers, first pitch swinging. Popped it up. Middle of the diamond for Desi Relaford to put away. Cal Ripken. Bat very hot. And been enjoying through 8 innings anyway this day off. After Cal dialed up another home run shot here last night. Rip now leading the ball club. It's 13 home run. Speaking of leading the ball club, this man's been the catalyst today. Brady Anderson. 3 for 4 at the plate. Double, scored a run in the 1st. Base hit, scored a run in the 5th. Also a single in the 2nd. And was 3 for 4 on the day. Reds are hoping to the Reds on this one and then enjoy an off day tomorrow at home here in Baltimore. They have been few and far between, both off days this year and one here in the city. Jim will have to spring into action. That means, you know, going to the dry cleaner and getting your clothes cleaned and doing all the domestic things, getting some groceries in the house, you know, stuff like that. I enjoy 10-day to 2-week homestands. It's not bad. There should be more of them in a baseball season. Line drive right, and Hunter in the race to the bag, and Payne snuck the hand in with that head-first dive to beat Brian Hunter.
Well, Brady, I tell you, a very productive day. I mean, just a BB. That Hunter was going to snag, and quite a great angle right here. Harold just trying not to get hit. Then he sees, uh-oh. Of course, Hunter playing deep because they figure he's not going to run right here. And little dive, little step. So the hand is quicker than the foot.
Oh, that first angle we showed you, out of the camera of young Steve Dressman down in the pit. There he is. We waved at Steve earlier. Maybe a terrific look as Baines just got that left hand back in with a head-first dive. And saluting all the camera folks today. Also, big cheers to all the guys in videotape, too. They work extremely hard, showing you all these different looks and getting them to you quickly. And it's the A team down there today. Bob Geller, Gene Matthews, Steve Baldwin. Fellows, good work as always. They are veterans all down there in videotape. Wardick will rip it foul by Sam Perlaza.
You want to get the best camera shot? Shoot the scoreboards. 7-2 Orioles.
Come on.
I'm just saying that's your best shot. Right there. The scoreboard with the Orioles ahead.
On the inside corner, and Al Clark rings up Mike Bordick, inning over. We'll go to the top of the ninth. Birds lead at 7-2.
At Cal Ripken opening up the chest of ice there in the Orioles dugout. The Orioles have a new right fielder now. Rich Amaral goes into right field for Albert Bell, and the Orioles have a new pitcher on the hill for the ninth inning to replace Mike Messina. Michael?
Yeah, Tommy, there's the real meaning of the dugout club, huh? So we saw Cal Ripken having a little bit of fun with everybody down there. So Amaral in right field, and Mike Cromley will take over to pitch this ninth inning.
That pitched the last appearance was up in New York. A couple of innings on Thursday. Gave up a home run, solo job. Numbers really there don't look too bad, but just not having a very good year. Been hurt by the home run. Trying to work on that windup to be able to throw his fastball with a little bit better location.
And he's looking for 3 outs. Jimmy, you're talking about the scoreboard. Yeah, that is the bottom line, and that's what Trombley needs to give the win to Mike Messina. Messina, 116 pitches today through 8 innings. Another very strong performance from the O's ace.
Yeah, superb performance.
Called strikeout Scott Rowland, the big third baseman, to lead it off here in the top of the ninth with Rob Ducey and Pat Burrell to follow. After Philadelphia won the opener of this series, the Orioles trying to send the Phils down to Tampa for more interleague baseball against the Devil Rays, losers of this series.
There we go right there. A little bit more on it. Good location outside third. Now you can use the curveball. You can use the splitter. There's the splitter.
Got him on 3 pitches. So Rowland is set down by Mike Trombley to start this ninth.
No, Trombley, Mike paying attention to the home run that Roland hit off of Pat Ropp. Curveball, but the splitter just dives. I like to see that. Quickly ahead and then out of the strike zone.
There's Rob Ducey now. Ducey, solo home run off Mike Mussina in the second inning. Until that eighth, it was the only run that Mussina allowed today. And Trombley coming in and throwing nothing but strikes. And quickly 0-2. We'll give you a quick whirl around interleague baseball. They're in the ninth inning up at Skydome. Toronto's got an 8-3 lead over Montreal. Carlos Delgado has gone deep again in that one. Number 24 for the hit machine, Delgado. He got him. Myers held onto it. Another split finger from Mike Trombley, who has fanned a pair here in the top of the ninth.
Well, just great pitching right here. I mean, I know it's 7-2, but you got to get those 3 outs, and you can see the tumbling effect, and that's what the hitter's trying to see on a splitter. The ball actually comes over with overspin and goes down when thrown properly. So good command of the fastball and a great splitter this afternoon for Mike Trombley.
It's Pat Burrell now. As Trombley looks to put the cap on this. Elsewhere, Cleveland, Cincinnati still tied. They're in the 10th inning now at Jacobs Field. Of course, Reds came from 5-0 down. Junior Griffey's 19th home run of the year, the 3-run shot. Got Cincinnati even. St. Louis avoided the sweep today. They beat the Detroit Tigers in Comerica Park 7-3. And the Chicago White Sox going for a sweep. They lead their crosstown rivals, the Cubs, 5-3 late in that one at Comiskey Park. It's in the 7th. And as Tom's told you, the Yankees and the Mets finish it off tonight. Their Subway Series. Mike Hampton against David Cone. And what about Boston and Atlanta? It's the other one to keep an eye on. The Red Sox have been scuffling, and they got a win today. They beat Tom Glavine. That was Ramon Martinez on the mound. So it seems like it's just Pedro and Ramon that can win now for the Sox.
Yeah, they've only won 4 out of their last 10 games. Got a 13-game road trip as Burrow will go down 2-out walk during the ninth.
And so the 2 ball clubs right in front of the Orioles winning today as well. Boston and the Toronto Blue Jays, with the Yankees leading the division. The Yanks lead now over the Boston Red Sox at 1 game, and that includes the Sox win today in Atlanta. There's Brian Hunter as Trombley tries to finish things up here at the yard. Texas in on Tuesday. And of course that signifies the hot bats of Rafael Palmeiro and Ivan Rodriguez.
Yeah, what a year Rodriguez is having.
Yep. Ruben Mateo went down with injury. He's gone for a couple of months, isn't he?
Broke his leg. He's gone for the year.
Is it for the year?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a blow to that ball club.
But Rodriguez with, 21 home runs, at least going into the day, and hitting 367 somewhere up there in that stratosphere.
Trombley's fallen behind Brian Hunter. 2-1 now on the first baseman. Trombley all set to go. 3-1. Well, we just notified that Sammy Sosa has doubled in a couple on the north side of Chicago. So the Cubbies have tied it at 5-5 against their south side rivals as Hunter fouls it off. What's left of this crowd of over 48,000 on their feet here in this sweltering Sunday afternoon. Series wins have been tough to come by late for the Orioles. They got a chance to rack one up here. 3-2 pitch to Hunter. Again, bounce foul. Are you here Tuesday night?
No, I'm not.
No. Okay, Mike Flanagan will be with us.
Mike Flanagan will be with you.
Okay. 3-2 pitch. That miss. Back-to-back walks after the back-to-back Ks. So 4 hitters. Nobody's put a ball in play yet this inning. 2 on and 2 out. That'll get the right-handed hitting second baseman Kevin Jordan to face Trombley. Jordan had that base hit up the middle that got the Phillies started to put a run on the board in the 8th. Breaking ball from Trombley. Mike Timlin got a call to get up and loosen behind Mike Trombley here in the 9th. And Mike Lieberthal is on deck. So if Jordan can extend this inning, the Phillies still have the tying run in the dugout, even if Jordan is able to work his way on. Trombley's ahead. He went up in the strike zone with that breaking pitch.
Yeah, maybe the location not where you want it, but the break and the speed fools him. He's already finished his swing. Ball hadn't got to home plate. And this is where Mike Trombley was on the back-to-back strikeouts to start this inning. Ahead in the count.
And the 1-2. Ground ball to the hole. Conine to DeShields. You can book this one to the Orioles. Birds pick up a series win as they beat the Philadelphia Phillies. 4th win of the year for Mike Messina as the O's ring up the Phils. The final at 7-2. Our Heineken star of the game, the catalyst today, Brady Anderson, on that leadoff spot, scored a couple of runs, had 3 base knocks. And it all spells a 7-2 Orioles win over Philadelphia. We'll come back and tell you a little bit more right here at the Yard on HTS. Do not follow, do not conform, be different. By your nearby Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Also by Geico Direct, the sensible alternative. By Advance Auto Parts, the best part is our people. And by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wilds of communication. Orioles 7-2 winners over the Philadelphia Phillies. Birds win 2 of the 3 here in this hot weekend in Baltimore. Don't go away. We come back to explain more. 8 a moment. Mike Messina, 4-game winner now, as Messina on that fast track back toward the 500 mark. And, above and beyond as he outdueled Andy Ashby. The Orioles win 2 of 3 this weekend. The Birds get to, again, 8 games to the 500 mark. Game number 60 now in the books this year. So this season, more than a third of the way done with the Orioles 8 games under following the series win over the Philadelphia Phillies. With that, we'll take a look at Will Clark and Advance Auto Parts play of the game. Jim off the snide with his first home run of the year.
And first home run since the 24th of July last year. Perfect pitch to hit, inner thigh. And he crushes it. He said he was getting close, and he did. One of the 7 Orioles that got hits, only Myers and Baines.
And it all spells a 7-2 Birds win over Philadelphia as Will Clark and Greg Myers share congratulations afterward. We'll be right back to the Yard. 7-2, the final this afternoon as the Musketeers enjoyed. Yeah, they racked up the Ks for Mike Messina, 6 of them today, as the Orioles beat the Philadelphia Phillies, the final, at 7-2. We certainly hope you managed to stay cool today and enjoy this one. Michael Reghi and Jim Palmer here at the yard, and the right formula. You get Messina on the mound, you get him an early lead, and that proved to be aces as he made it stand up.
It certainly did, and now that's the 6th straight game, and only one of those games has he given up more than 2 runs. So on a very hot day, he looked cool as a cucumber. And that scoreboard made it even look a little bit cooler because they got them that early lead, and everything was working. Now 3-0 lifetime against the Phillies, and he is back on track. And as our colleague Mike Flanagan says, there's nobody better when he gets into gear, can go 15, 16, 17, 18 consecutive starts on track, and that it appears that he's back at that point.
The Orioles will take it because now, as we said, 6 games. And the first thing, Jim, before you can worry about catching anybody in the division, you got to get back to the 500 mark, correct? And then go from there.
Well, you were 10 games under when you started last night's game. You win last night 11-4. Today you win 7-2. So you're 8 back as far as 8 under 500. You got Scotty Erickson going. Your pitching's pretty good. The bullpen looks like it's straightened itself out. Timlin had a couple of good outings. So maybe you're back on track. And, you got Will Clark started again. So it's, Bell's hot. I mean, Ripken took the day off, and you still win 7-2. So a lot of positive things coming for the Orioles.
What the Orioles will do from here is try to win the series. Texas coming in, Anaheim following. We'll see how the Orioles finish out this homestand today. Solid 7-2 win over the Philadelphia Phillies behind Mike Messina, who had that tantalizing knuckle curve in gear, and Will Clark with a home run back for the first time since last July. Join us Tuesday on O's TV for the first of 3-game series against the Texas Rangers at 7:30. Orioles baseball, a presentation of CBS Cable, the Baltimore Orioles, and Major League Baseball. Now for producer Rich Wolf, director John Niehaus, everybody we showed you, the crew did a terrific job today in all the heat. And for Jim Palmer, I'm Michael Reghi. Thanks for your Orioles baseball company, everybody. See you.